Of our university require me to mention that the University of Antwerp subscribes to the Code of Ethics for Scientific Research in Belgium and the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, and expects the PhD researcher and supervisors to be aware of these and to have taken them into account in the implementation and supervision of the PhD research. Apart from this, I also have to point out that the University of Antwerp doesn't award any grades on PhD dissertations, which means that we can only declare the candidate successful. So here we go. The jury has evaluated the dissertation and the public defense. Based on this, and after confidential deliberation, they have decided to award Miftahul Huda the academic degree of Doctor in Linguistics and Literature. We would like to congratulate Dr. Huda with a well-deserved result.
The three of us will each take turns. Dear Dr. Huda. It is an honor, after the chairwoman of the jury, to address you with this title. Congratulations on this important achievement. Sure, you may. But allow me to switch back swiftly to a less formal style for the remainder of this laudatio. Dear Miftah, dear Risma, Nazir, Fisa, Fari, and Zia, Miftah's wife and his 4 children. Dear Indonesian Ambassador to Belgium and Deputy Chief of Mission in Brussels. Dear friends and family, Miftah, dear colleagues, and all other guests gathered here today. The story that reaches its coda, its conclusion, today here at this doctoral defense, was set into motion several years ago, dating back to October 2020, when Miftah wrote an email to Jeff Verschuren. He also wrote to several other colleagues at our university. It was very clear from the start that you really wanted to do your PhD here. Jeff shared this email with me, for which I am to this date very grateful. Tom and I then consulted on whether we wanted to accept Miftah as a PhD student, and after an interesting and productive online meeting between the three of us, we decided to proceed with his application, and we invited Helge as the third supervisor of his PhD, given her indispensable and necessary expertise in Arabic studies. From that first email onwards, Miftah struck us as a PhD candidate who had a clear vision of what he wanted to study and also how to go about doing this. He was motivated, keen to learn more, and he also disposed of his own personal funding, a prestigious fellowship given out to him personally by the Saudi Funds for Development. In short, he had all the right cards in his possession for a successful 4-year trajectory of PhD study. After his enrollment at our university, Miftah arrived in Belgium on the 29th of April in 2021 to embark upon his PhD, which is almost exactly in a couple of weeks, 4 years ago. But his first days in Belgium, unfortunately, were spent in self-isolation, as we were still at the time in the midst of a pandemic outbreak. After 7 days spent in quarantine and 2 negative PCR tests, he was able to visit the campus. And during those initial months, unfortunately, most of our meetings were still online. The weather on Miftah's arrival in Belgium was unfortunately typically Belgian. There was rain throughout the day, and the temperature was in the low single digits. It was an introduction to a long 4 years of cold and rainy weather, for which you definitely had to buy a warm winter coat and warmer clothing in general. Now, as is typical in a laudatio, the supervisor praises the qualities and the accomplishments of the newly minted doctors. As I only have a couple of minutes, I will limit myself to 5 qualities that characterize Miftah both as a researcher and as an individual. I'm going to go over time. First of all, Miftah is intellectually curious and very, very well read. He has a deep passion for learning and discovering new insights, even if it involves engaging with entirely new fields and approaches. This was indeed the daunting case with linguistic ethnography, and it was specifically the phrase "making the strange familiar" and the familiar strange that served as a mantra, as it were, in your exploration of that literature. I think you even mentioned it earlier today. Miftah's PhD, as was also acknowledged by several of the jury members, spans multiple disciplines, and he masterfully brought these literatures and these methodologies together in a convincing admirable thesis. Secondly, Miftah disposes of strong resolve and dedication as a researcher. He spent countless hours of reading in the library, a place where I suspect the heating was set to a higher temperature than his first office in Building D on the 3rd floor. He also spent hours and days writing and painstakingly revising his chapters. On many occasions, in the past year for example, I would actually get a text message from a colleague late in the evening letting me know that Miftah was still hard at work in his new fancy office on the 2nd floor. The speed with which Miftah was able to produce literature reviews and chapters on data results was also not only impressive, but reassuring about his progress. But also when it came to the ethical dimensions of his data collection and your own positionality, something that was discussed at length here today, in carrying out his ethnography as an insider, you displayed a reflexivity and an awareness that you very, very rarely encounter in a PhD student. Thirdly, Miftah is also a resilient individual. As with any PhD, setbacks do occur, and at times it seems almost impossible that you will ever reach the final milestone. In Miftah's case, for example, his fieldwork and data collection was actually delayed for 6 whole months, or maybe 7 months, more or less, due to the mandates of remote teaching at place at the university in Indonesia that you studied, Kind University. In face of these challenges, however, Miftah's perseverance never wavered. He stayed focused, he remained optimistic, and he kept pushing forward despite any obstacle. One of Miftah's strong suits that make him so pleasant to work with is his cooperative nature and how open to feedback he is, continuously seeing it as an opportunity to learn and to grow in his skills. Our cooperation in the past 4 years also spent many different activities. Miftah, you gave guest lectures in my course, but also in the course of colleagues. Frank is here, for example. You were a stage manager at the last IPA conference at the ULB in Brussels. And before that, you were also a state manager, but not by that term, at the Social Linguistics Symposium at Ghent University. In many respects, you were a solid and trustworthy colleague in our research group, and one that we will surely miss. Finally, on a more personal note of appreciation, Miftah's kindness and optimism deserve special recognition. Whenever I would run into Miftah on campus, he would be cheerful, he would be smiling, and interacting with him makes it impossible not to like him as a colleague and as a person. He is and always will be a well-liked and appreciated colleague in our department and research group. And so even though you will soon be moving back to Indonesia, I hope this is not a goodbye, but a see you later for many other future research collaborations and tackling the homework that you gave. I am slowly coming to a conclusion. A laudatio is not complete unless a few words of thanks are also spoken. In particular, I would like to thank our colleagues Joke de Wilde, Maarten van Alstein, who is not here, Jeff Schuren, Vanessa Joosses, and Renate van Kerkhove for the time they generously invested as members of the jury in evaluating the doctoral thesis. In the case of Vanessa, an additional thank you is in order, as you have closely followed Miftah's progress as an IDC member. I would also like to thank the other supervisors, Tom and Helge, for our successful collaboration on supervising Miftah in the past years. And finally, Miftah, you have been one of the many PhD students that I've supervised in the past years, and you have also been one of my favorites to work with. And not only because you always brought Indonesian cookies. That helps. I know that working on a PhD is not always easy, and it comes with many challenges that you have to overcome. But I hope that as you look back on the trajectory from this point here and now, that you will agree with me that it's been a worthwhile and beautiful journey. You did this. You achieved this. The final finish line. So once again, many congratulations on your PhD and your new title as a doctor in linguistics and literature.
What did you do?
Yes, would add to that. So, if it didn't have other connotations in slang, I would say you're a smooth operator, and Vanessa also alluded to this when in the discussion moment. Especially not only because you managed to navigate with 3 supervisors, but also you managed to finish your PhD while raising a family consisting of 4 children, and that's a real tour de force. Which also entailed a lot of sacrifice. Therefore, dear Miftah, dear Dr. Miftah, I repeat, could there be a more fortunate timing for defending your dissertation than the third day of date, which marks another level of the end of a period of sacrifice, but one of the better kinds. So, again, Eid Mubarak, kul sana wa antum bikhair. The latter meaning that we hope to celebrate this Eid every year and everybody being in good health. And I say this now in combination with Alf Mabruk. Congratulations for obtaining your doctoral degree, but probably something you will not repeat every year. So, all my best wishes on the remainder of your academic journey.
Tissue for this emotional moment. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear professors, colleagues, friends and family, good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here today. It's hard to believe that I have made it to this moment. And to be honest, I still don't know how. Maybe I'm used to writing wrong paragraph. But when it comes to expressing this kind of gratitude, words somehow feel too small. And this dissertation might have my name on the cover, but it is the product of so many people. So many people support, so many people kindness and guidance. I often think of my PhD journey as a long road trip, sometimes smooth, sometimes full of bumps, sometimes with unclear road signs, and sometimes in the fog. But thankfully, I was not alone. I was not driving alone. I had the whole team in my car. Tom smell. He constantly pushed me forward. I still remember arriving in Antwerp, April 29, 2021, during COVID-19, feeling quite lost and uncertain. But Tom greeted me warmly at Agora Cafe, helped me through quarantine, even made sure I had access to vaccine, and I got 3 of 4 injections. More than that, he also helped me transition into the academic atmosphere of the University of Antwerp, introducing me to the foundations of critical ELT. And Tom, he has always reminded me to stay focused, to improve, to be critical of my own work. And as you love to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that phrase haunted me in some moments, but in the end, it helped me survive. Thank you for accelerating my growth. Even when I was tempted to pull the handbrake. Mika is like the clutch and the gear, bringing balance and control when the engine of research got too heated or got too cold. And Mika, you made sure I had work-life balance, gently reminded me to slow down when needed, or to be more speedy when needed. And that's what she often did to me. And thank you for helping me maintain a healthy pace. Mika introduced me to linguistic ethnography and the mess of interactional analysis. I have never imagined that I'm going to go to linguistics. But she trapped me into that kind of interaction. Interactional dynamics, international classroom, international classroom talks, and so on. And thank you for always reminding me that research is not only about productivity, it's about clarity, about care and confidence. If I'm not worried, you don't need to worry. That's what she always told me. If I'm not worried, you don't need to worry with that. She knows that I am worried a lot. And I hear that like a mantra. Not only making the strange familiar and making the familiar strange, but not to worry too much about this PhD life. Thank you for keeping me safe. And Helga, maybe you are a rare view mirror and the brain. You welcome me with Belgium chocolate and Hisham Matar's Hisham Matar's novel. That's the perfect combination to begin a reflective journey on my PhD. Help me see what I might otherwise miss. The hidden layers, the cerebral voices, the silent narrative. You encourage me to read between the lines, and more importantly, to listen to what is left unsaid. Your deep insights into literature, into religion, and cultural sensitivity shaped not only my dissertation, but also how I see the world. Thank you for helping me pause. Thank you for helping me reflect and respect the depth of what I was working with. Together, the three of you did not just guide me through grounded theory, you transformed it into a grounded practice. The three of them, ladies and gentlemen, constantly reminded me to stay close with the data, but not too close. When I got too attached to my participants' voice, when I started losing the necessary critical distance, one of them would gently or firmly pull me back. And their interdisciplinarity, their different personalities and strengths, and their complementary styles made this journey rich, challenging, and unforgettable. It has been a ride, and I am deeply thankful to have shared the car with you. And of course, this ride would not have moved forward without the help of others who paved the way. Jeff Verschuren, you are the one who first connected me to both Mika and then Helga, and to the ICA community. And that becomes such an important part of my academic home. Thank you for your continued support and for carrying me here. And thank you for always believing in me. To my jury members, Lenin, Vanessa, Hawken, maybe Martin van Alsten. Thank you for reading my dissertation with such a rigor and critical and depth, and for your generous and constructive comments, as well as the hard work. You have helped me see my work from new angles and improve the way I understand my own research and my own contribution. Again, I am deeply honored by your encouragement. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now to the heart of my life. My family, to my wife, to my wife Rizwan, who has carried more than her share of this PhD. She is the foundation of my perseverance. And while I have been here, you are being there, managing our home, raising our children, 4 children. Keeping everyone safe, strong and full of love. And whenever I felt like giving up, I thought of your sacrifice and our children's dream. This degree is not mine, it is ours, and thank you. Thank you for everything. I have lived alone, ladies and gentlemen, in a modest 3 by 4 meter cot in Burgerhout, far from my family. I live alone, but never feel lonely. I have been surrounded by very generous, kind-hearted Indonesian people. The very kind-hearted people from Indonesia who made my work brighter and my life here full of love. The Indonesian society here welcomed me. They fed me, prayed with me, laughed with me. So being accepted, being respected, and loved here is something I will never take for granted. And I don't think it is because of who I am, but because of who you are. Thank you for your angelic heart. To the Indonesian Embassy in Brussels, you are not just a formal institution, but a family. The Ambassador, His Excellency, the Deputy Chief of Mission, and all the home and local staff, thank you. Thank you for the openness, for the hospitality, and for the care. You have made every Indonesian, including me, the PhD student, feel safe and feel respected. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak Pak Dubes. Terima kasih banyak Pak DCM. Ibu, sorry I shift to Indonesia because maybe it can reduce my tear. Terima kasih banyak Pak DCM, Ibu. Mohon maaf sering ngerepoti menyelinap ke dapur Wisma. Dan tidur di sofa dapur. Mohon maaf. Terima kasih juga untuk teman-teman di KBRI. Thank you very much. To the Indonesian community in Belgium, the Nusantara Cultural Center. Bahtiar, Punya Leli, Haji, to the members of PJN Belgia, Momo and Barinda, and some others, Mr. Kamran, to the members of APMI Belgia, PPI Antwerpen, and many pengajian groups. To Ibu Mahmudah, to Julie, I cannot mention the name of the head of the pengajian groups here. I lost my words, but to all of the communities I have been lucky to be part of you, thank you very much. And you have taught me that academic life is only one part of meaningful life. Through all of you, I have learned the value of community, the value of engagement, the value of culture, and the value of service. You gave me energy, you gave me purpose, and you gave me belonging. Thank you very much. Finally, to everyone who has contributed to my journey, participants of my research in Indonesia, to my colleagues in grammar and pragmatics, everyone, thank you very much for coming. Good luck for you, my office mate. You just started. You still have 3 years and 9 months. Welcome to the jungle. My fellow PhD students, the professors, the friends, you have all helped me become a better scholar, and more importantly, a better human being. Thank you. If you are wondering what is next, maybe just a long nap. Maybe some fried rice and tea and lots of time with my family, friends. And some talks before leaving this lovely and beloved community. Okay, to all of you, thank you, and thank you. You are part of this dissertation, and you are part of my life story. Terima kasih. Merci. Dankjewel. Shukran. Shukran jazilan. Thank you guys.